another sophomore star. Today, they face a daunting challenge at UMass. At the Mullen Center, poise is paramount, and it's a lesson Bruiser Flint has instilled in his crew. Bruiser ball gets its punch from a couple of quasars in the backcourt. Carmelo Travieso, a sleepy-eyed assassin, and Edgar Padilla, a paragon of precision. The guards gear up for battle. Xavier, UMass next.
Let's hoop it up!
College basketball on ABC today brings us to the Northeast and the Mullen Center. Number 20 Xavier makes his first trip here to take on UMass. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mark Jones in the house along with Terry Gannon, and welcome. Terry, both teams coming in at 5-2 in A-10 play. When you cut through to the belly of both these teams, you find four great guards.
It's a little man's game today. If you love watching great guard play, you've got it. Xavier likes to get the ball up and down the court, and Lenny Brown, Gary Lumpkin, maybe one of the best backcourts in the country. They can both shoot the three. They've played together since junior high school, but they face a great backcourt defensively. Padilla, Travieso, they took UMass to the Final Four a year ago. They're both healthy. That's the biggest thing. And the Minutemen have won 5 in a row, and as always, the Mullen Center rocking already.
And UMass is on a huge roll right now. They have won 5 games in a row. It is big. It is bad. It is Bruiser ball. It's next. John Saunders will be in the studio right after this.
And welcome to our studios in New York. I am John Saunders. We'll get you out to your game in just a moment. But first, let's check with the scores and the highlights, beginning with Kentucky against Georgia in the SEC. In this one, that's Michael Chadwick with a three-pointer. Rick Pitino looking concerned, but Kentucky does what they do best. They move the ball around. Ron Mercer hits the baseline jumper. It was tied, and then it was Tubby Smith's turn to be upset. Kentucky's won 22 straight at home, and right now they're rolling 44-28. Utah ranked number 4, but struggling at New Mexico, down 43-28. We'll keep you up to date on this one. Charles Smith with 18 for New Mexico. Clemson against NC State. State had lost 15 consecutive games in the conference. Danny Strong with a three-pointer. NC State took a 1-point lead. Then Terrell McIntyre, with time running out, dribbles the ball off his foot. Jeremy Hyatt hit a couple of free throws to ice the game. There's a look at Hyatt right there. And State wins for the first time in 16 games in the ACC. Villanova against Syracuse. This one was a tight one early. Syracuse had the lead for most of the first half. Sapola loses the ball. Howard Brown down the court and dunks it down. And Villanova takes the lead. Steve Lapis, though, looks a little bit worried. Villanova guard Howard Brown to the freshman Tim Thomas, who had 20 points. And for the first time since 81-82, Syracuse has lost 5 games in the Carrier Dome. Florida State and Virginia in the ACC. Curtis Staples with 16 points. The Cavaliers win. Memphis and Arkansas, and Memphis head coach Larry Finch announcing this week he will not be back next year. Buyout of his contract. They trail Arkansas 64-55. In the Big Ten, Wisconsin against Ohio State. Ohio State does again. They beat Indiana earlier this week. 11 points in the first half for Wisconsin. 2 of 20 from the field. Stick around. When we come back, we'll get you out to Wake Forest in Maryland or Xavier against UMass. It's all coming up on Payne Weber College Basketball on ABC.
James Bruiser Flint, the orchestrator and choreographer of Bruiser Ball, in-your-face, intense basketball by the Minutemen. And welcome back to Payne Weber College Basketball here on ABC. Xavier against UMass, ready for the opening tip-off in just a moment. But first, a look at the starting lineups. First of all, for Xavier, Gary Lumpkin, Terry, the team's leading scorer.
And he can shoot the threes. Both of those guards can get in your face. They love to run the floor, and they want to go 94 feet today. They're an explosive offense, one of the highest scoring teams in the country for Skip Prosser in his 3rd year.
Prosser says that a win today would be huge for them. Meanwhile, for the Minutemen, James Bruiser Flint, the head coach on the right, a look at their starting lineup. Clark has been inserted into the starting lineup. They've gone on a roll.
6 games ago, Bruiser put Charlton Clark in the starting lineup. They go with the 3-guard lineup. They've won 5 in a row. That's been been the key for this first-year coach. I talked to him yesterday, and he's more excited than ever right now, obviously on a 5-game roll.
They have used 8 different starting lineups this year because of injuries, and the Minutemen control the opening tap. Here's Padilla.
You'll see both teams in straight man-to-man. They play a little bit of zone, but mostly it's man-to-man in your face. Xavier gets after you.
Here's Padilla on the wing, looking inside to Kettner. Kettner, the big, tall, strapping, strong sophomore, posting up down low, and he's fouled inside. That's the first foul of the ball game. Just underway with 19:44 to play in the first half.
Bruiser started the year. You come off a Final Four year. You replace John Calipari, who you worked under throughout those years. You think about all that pressure, and then he had injuries to Padilla, to Travieso. Couldn't get everything going, and they lost 3. They've lost 3 at home, which doesn't happen very often.
And Padilla doesn't turn it over very often, but he does right there. Lumpkin coming up with the steal for Xavier.
And a straight man-to-man from UMass, too. You can't play Xavier a zone very often because they just shoot lights out. Lumpkin and Brown will kill you from three-point range.
Inside they go, and it's tipped away, and it's going to come back the other way to UMass. It appeared to go off a UMass player, Terry.
Yeah, it looked like it would stay at this end. But here's the full court pressure, which Xavier wants to do because they want to get the tempo going up and down. What Bruiser Flint wants to do is play a half-court game. I think both coaches feel that tempo may be the key to this game because Xavier can't beat UMass in a half-court set offensive game.
Yeah, Prosser saying before the game that a score up in the 80s or even high 70s would be favorable for his Minutemen. Pardon me, for his Musketeers. Comes back the other way now. Xavier with the ball.
Yeah, Kettner picked up the foul, and that's one of the things that he struggled with this year. He played well, and he had a huge game against George Washington in that win the other night, but he's prone to foul trouble.
T.J. Johnson inside to Williams. Darnell Williams had it blocked.
And that was off the glass.
You know, that's 2 now questionable calls that have gone against Xavier.
That ball was on the glass before Kettner came up and hit it. You watch. Williams down low. Nice little step inside. Oh, yeah, that's off the glass. That's got to be a basket interference.
That's as obvious as goaltending gets. Inside. Braggs has it stripped away by Padilla. Jump ball situation. And the possession arrow is in favor of Xavier.
Boy, Edgar Padilla, does he scrap? These 2 guards from UMass have been through everything.
You know, Terry, anytime you have that kind of senior leadership in the backcourt, you're a threat to go all the way, either in conference play or deep into the tournament.
I think you're right. And I think we watched Cincinnati the other night, and the struggles that they've had at the point guard spot, even with all the talent elsewhere, that's not just one problem to solve. That's a huge problem, not to have a point guard to lead you.
Lumpkin has it stripped away by Padilla. He leads the school career-wise in steals. Clark off glass and good. Back quickly the other way. You can't sleep on the Musketeers. They come right back at you.
No, there's no standing around to high-five anybody after you score a bucket against them.
UMass with a 2-0 lead. Clark with the first bucket of the ball game. Braggs inside. Nice interior pass to Johnson, and Johnson is fouled.
Good patience that time on offense by Xavier, but you have to take care of the basketball, and it's tough against this UMass team. You saw the quick hands, Padilla getting down on the floor, tying the ball up. They get it back off the steal and the easy bucket at the other end. Now, it's not a team that's really going to get in your face and pressure you on the full court. They don't want to play 94 feet. But on the half-court set, the guards are so smart, Mark. They anticipate so well. You got to make sure of every pass.
And Padilla coming up with the steal last time. T.J. Johnson at the line makes the first of 2 foul shots. Johnson, a 64% free throw shooter, averaging 7.6 points per game to go along with 5.5 rebounds. And Johnson misses the second. It's still 2-1. Travieso back the other way for UMass. Travieso, another one of those players that missed some games because of injuries earlier.
And Williams guarding Travieso, got a couple inches on him.
Weeks can't find the handle. Gets it back out to Travieso.
It's a good matchup that Skip Prosser has created here. He's got Darnell Williams, who's 6'4", on Travieso 6'2", to take away his jump shot.
The double team Padilla out top. Clark on the baseline. Misses it. Rebound out of bounds. It'll go to Xavier.
And a good call that time.
Finally, one going Skip Prosser's way.
We've got to give them credit when they make good ones.
It is 2-1, 17:15 to play in the first half.
And neither Brown nor Lumpkin has gotten a shot off yet.
Johnson tried to hit number 32, Darnell Williams, who ducked inside, but he couldn't get it to him, and it's out of bounds. It'll be UMass ball.
Skip Prosser on the bench next to Pete Gillen all those years. Ed Xavier did a great job at Loyola.
Padilla used his body nicely to protect the ball and comes up with the layup. Padilla really coming on in the last half a dozen games, and Braggs nails the jumper from the baseline. It's 4-3.
You can't even take a breath against Xavier. After you score a bucket, you've got to get back.
And the pressure, full court, pays off, and they convert with the jump shot by number 12, Gary Lumpkin. Just like that, 4 consecutive points by Xavier. Clark breaks the press, and then he turns it over. Lumpkin couldn't catch up to it. Xavier comes up with the turnover, but then gives it back.
Boy, does that get you as a coach, too? You watch your team steal 2 straight in the pressure. They've created 4 turnovers already, but you've turned it over 4 times, too. And that's been one of the problems with the Musketeers this year. They are young. We talk about how great their backcourt is, but both Brown and Lumpkin are only sophomores.
Decision-making has been a problem at points this year. There's Padilla out top. UMass trailing by a point with 16:15 to play in the first half. Padilla to his backcourt mate Travieso. Both played on the Puerto Rican national team this past summer. And Travieso is fouled on the play by Lenny Brown.
You know, they played on that Puerto Rican national team at the Olympics this summer. I think they came in 10th. And I know we've heard this story so many times, but I think it's a great story. The fact that these 2 young men, Travieso and Padilla, were born on the same day from Puerto Rico. Look at the play by Padilla inside.
They really are soulmates. Padilla with an opportunity to complete the 3-point play.
And when you compare him with this young backcourt, as you watch Padilla, that's just a case of Edgar Padilla knowing where to go. Lumpkin turning his head, all of a sudden he's at the basket, and he uses his body, puts it up off the glass. But neither one of these 2 players, in Padilla and Travieso, you're going to watch for 5 minutes and say, well, they just were born with great talent. They know how to play the game. They're old-fashioned players. They do so many things well, not just 1 or 2 special areas.
Yeah, Padilla isn't what you would consider terribly flashy with the basketball, but he gets it done, as does Brown sometimes, but he misses the jump shot there. Out of bounds, it'll be UMass ball. And a timeout called, a 20-second timeout called by Xavier. You know, Terry, I'm not terribly fond of that rule when guys are falling out of bounds like you're falling off a cliff, and all of a sudden you motion and signal for timeout.
Well, you're not fond of it. I hate it. I mean, I absolutely hate that. I know it's within the rules, but I don't think it's within the spirit of the rules. Do you?
No, not at all.
You're supposed to call a timeout, maybe to settle things down, to go gather yourself as a club, not just as a way of staying in bounds, keeping the basketball.
Here's a look at the East Division standings in the Atlantic 10 Conference. Rhode Island leading at 6-2. UMass and St. Joe's trailing by a game. Meanwhile, in the West, Xavier leads George Washington, and UMass had a big win at George Washington a couple of nights ago.
Tough place to play. The Smiths time.
Inside to T.J. Johnson, has it rejected by Weeks. Clark in transition. Padilla a little strong off glass. Weeks gets it to fall.
Hey, give Tyrone Weeks credit. Normally, big men, when they see the guards up court, they stop running. He didn't. The hustle paid off.
Johnson fouled, and no, they're going to call it travel. UMass doing the job at both ends of the floor. Coming up with the pick and the pinch. And an education in termination. That is how you finish. We'll be right back.
It's a classic ACC matchup as Georgia Tech faces Duke. Louisville battles Temple, or Arizona takes on Washington. It's Payne Weber College basketball tomorrow on ABC.
The anatomy of a fast break. Enos says enough. Enos Norval with the block first of all. That's one way to start it. And then the transition begins for UMass. At the other end, the follow-up by Tyrone Weeks. The big men doing the job, even though the guards lead the way. On the break, UMass doesn't want this game to go up and down, but they'll take it when they get it.
You look at number 34. He precipitated a big turnaround in their season. I'll tell you about it in just a minute. A look at the field goal situation. UMass shooting 67% from the field. Xavier 2 of 5. And kind of surprising, Terry, that Xavier has only gotten up 5 shots with about 5 minutes into the game.
Well, they've turned it over 4 times, too. That's been one of their problems. They got a couple of steals off the pressure. Watch for that to continue. Here we go.
Clark stripped, and back the other way comes Lumpkin. Lumpkin and Brown conspicuous by their silence so far. Bragg's missing from way out. Here's Travieso. And a traveling called against Padilla, and he knew it.
And maybe fortunate that he was called for the travel, because Posey was right there to take the charge. Posey, one of the better sixth men you're ever going to find in college basketball.
Posey checking into the game with his 13.7 points per contest. Look at the turnover situation. Rather ragged so far. Turnovers have been the bane of Xavier this year. Averaging close to 20 per game. Bruiser Flint played his college basketball at St. Joe's, attended school there. Xavier inbounding underneath the hoop. Out top to Brown.
But a quick hands of Padilla. Almost took that right away from Lumpkin.
There's Brown out top. Carr working hard inside, trying to get open on Weeks. Now he steps out. Lumpkin forces one up. A 14-footer goes 12 feet.
And had plenty of time on the shot clock, too. They're about 8 or 9 seconds. No need to take that shot.
The Travieso coming off a screen. Boy, both sets of guards with busy hands, Terry.
Well, Xavier, if you watch them defensively and offensively, too, they just play hard. You know, there are times when they don't play real smart. They'll turn the basketball over. But very few games will you ever watch and say they weren't right in your face. And it makes it tough to do anything. It just wears you out.
5 on the shot clock. Norville finishes. Enos Norville with 2 seconds on the shot clock gives the Minutemen a 6-point lead.
One of their keys in the win against George Washington the other night. The big men playing well and running the floor. Norville, Weeks, Kettner. And when you have guards like this, Padilla, who can break down a defense, you've got to be aware of where he is all the time and watch him, because he's going to get to the basketball. And if you're Norville, the one quick power dribble up and the dunk, this guy is going to get you the basketball if you're ready to take it.
Padilla needed 2 assists coming into this game to move into the number 2 spot on the school career list. UMass in the midst of a 7-0 scoring run right now. Foul on the baseline against the Minutemen. As Lenny Brown drove to the bucket. Brown and Lumpkin, the backcourt men for Xavier, have played together for some 7.5 years now, dating back to their middle school days. So you talk about chemistry between the 2 different backcourt counterparts. It's on both sides.
Well, you either know what each other's going to do and you're able to anticipate that, or you're sick of each other. It goes one or the other way. So far, they're not. But it's really an advantage for Skip Prosser to have a backcourt like this, and they're only sophomores. So at least theoretically, they're going to be around for a couple more years.
Here's Brown with the jumper, and it's good. Lenny Brown gets on the scoreboard with his first 2 of the ball game. The lead cut down to 4. And this time UMass breaks the press. They bring the big man Weeks back to relieve the pressure.
Yeah, doing a nice job of that in the middle. Once in a while, though, you have to go to score against that pressure. Make sure that you don't see it the entire game.
UMass incredibly patient on the offensive end. And as I say that, Travieso throws in a 3-pointer from another area code.
Well, it's his idea of patience, I guess. Let it fly whenever I touch it.
They work it open for the wide-open 20-footer. Here's Brown driving on Travieso. Travieso, a good defender. Scramble in the paint. Lumpkin for 3. Well, the bank is open on the weekend.
Does not count on the playground, but it does here.
Lumpkin didn't call it, but it counts nonetheless. He has 5 points in the ball game. And the lead is down to 4 points with 12:05 to play in the first half.
You know, a month ago, if you told me you were going to do Xavier and UMass, you're going to watch that game at the Mullen Center, I'd say, well, I'm not really that excited about it. UMass was struggling so much, but this is a big game as Travieso got hit or they got a piece of that ball.
It appeared that Carr jumped down and got a piece of it. And it's tied up.
The Mark Jones special. Doesn't matter whether you call it or not.
It all counts the same, Terry Gannon.
Straight away off the board for Lumpkin. Yeah, give him 3 anyway.
We'll take it. We'll be right back.
Победы и агония поражения.
Body's already turned toward the basket. Waves goodbye to the basketball. Look at the backspin. Swish. Nothing but net, and that's a pretty sight, isn't it?
Yeah, you would know something about catch and shoot, right? Or in your case, just shoot. Huh?
Assist? What is an assist? What's defense?
Carmelo Travieso. A fixture in the backcourt for UMass. And the team's leading scorer on the season today. He has 5. Padilla. Rebound Xavier. Here they come in transition. Anderson checking into the game. Sherwin Anderson from Brooklyn, New York, a 5'11 senior.
Not really a jump shooter, but he's going to penetrate. He'll create offensively.
Johnson with a nice feed to Carr, who can't terminate. And here's Clark. And that's a charge. Charlton Clark is whistled for the foul. That is his second personal foul.
You know, when you're a team that's not that big like Xavier, it's one of the things as a coach that you teach, stepping in and taking the charge. And a terrific job by Posey that time, because you can't block that many shots. You've got to use every advantage you can. Taking the charge is one thing, and if you play against a team like that, you've got to be aware of that. Guys coming from the weak side, they're not going to try to block your shots. If you leave your feet, you're going to get that charge.
That's a good point. Smith coming into the ball game now. Winston Smith, Terry. For UMass, Clark sits down. Well, tonight on ABC, Groundhog Day comes a day early when Bill Murray and Andy McDowell star in this wonderful romantic comedy at 8/7 Central Time. Then your favorite comedians show you the people that crack them up. All new Who Makes You Laugh tonight on ABC. Bruiser Smith watching. Posey going to the line. Posey, the third leading scorer for Xavier at 13.7 per game, also brings 7.5 rebounds to the table for head coach Skip Prosser.
Yeah, you like to bring a guy off the bench who can do that and who's used to doing it. He started 2 of the last 3 games for an injured Darnell Williams, but you know, it's a role that he knows well. It doesn't take him long to get into the game.
Here's Smith, who's checked in for UMass. Weeks inside, and he's rejected by Johnson, but they call a foul on C.J. Johnson. I was talking earlier about Weeks, Tyrone Weeks, and he played an important role in their turnaround this year. Before their St. Bonaventure game, he summoned his teammates and called a players-only meeting. And his message to them was, and I quote, he told them, I don't want to go out a loser. Let's stop this losing blank, end quote. I think you can fill in the blank, Terry, sure. But he got through to his teammates, and they have subsequently gone on a 5-game winning streak. Weeks, a senior out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the emotional and spiritual leader of this team.
You know, the only meetings that seem to work are the ones players call. When a coach calls a meeting, you see him every day, and he's lecturing to you. It takes a senior to do that. And I think one of the keys to them, too, has been Padilla and Travieso understanding that everything that they do in games, in practice, on the bus, in hotels, on the road, is being watched by the youngsters on this team and emulated. I think at the beginning of the year, just talking to some of the folks around here at UMass, they were taking things the same way they did the last few years, but that was a senior-laden team and an experienced team. It's different now.
Massachusetts with 16 fouls. Xavier with 4 from downtown. Anderson fouled, and he'll get 3 foul shots as a result of that.
Well, UMass in a little bit of a matchup for Bruiser Flint that time. They went to the zone, and that's the worst foul in college basketball.
Ooh, is it ever?
especially when you foul someone who's not a three-point shooter.
And that's 2, Terry, on Edgar Padilla. And Bruiser Flint is telling him just that. You don't want to foul them way out here on the sideline.
Well, you'd like to invite Sherwin Anderson. No offense intended, but Sherwin's a penetrator. He's not a shooter, as you see by the free throw. And you want him to shoot the three-point shot.
Anderson out of Brooklyn, New York, leads the team in assists, turnover ratio. He's one of the 3 tri-captains. He's graduated already in 3 years with a degree in communications. Right now working on his master's in sports management. Look at Padilla.
Yeah, no lead Padilla in. He's a senior. He knows how to play with fouls, stay out of foul trouble. So maybe a sophomore or a freshman, you would make sure you get him out of the lineup in the first half with 2 fouls, not Edgar.
Here's a little 1-2, 1-1 half-court, three-quarter court trap by Xavier.
With patience. You know, this press is really not designed to take the ball away from the UMass guard. It's not going to happen that often with Padilla and Travieso. Just to wear them down, to make sure the game continues to go up and down the floor.
It makes them use a little time on the shot clock, too, Terry, because right now there's only 10 seconds to go on the shot clock.
A lot of standing around, too.
Padilla out top, looking for the high rub. Travieso from 25, got it! Straight butter. Carmelo Travieso. Boy, he was almost sitting in our laps when he shot that one. He has 6 in the ball game.
When you have a guy like Travieso, you stand around for about 30 seconds or so, and you just throw him the basketball. But it doesn't matter. You can't go that far out there and guard him. He was a good 28 feet away.
And Xavier turns it over again. UMass ball.
Can't turn it over on the road and win, especially against a conference team that knows what you're going to do.
UMass has turned it over 7 times to Xavier's 5. Smith on the baseline, and it falls. Winston Smith, the freshman from Elizabeth, New Jersey, with his first 2 points.
And this is their run, Mark. This is it. The crowd's into it. They're out of their seats. They're on their feet. This is when UMass makes their run at home.
Anderson driving to the bucket. Nice handoff. And they stepped out of bounds. Bragg steps out of bounds. And another Xavier turnover. They're 6th.
Yeah, and guess who's getting up to come in? Lenny Brown, the point guard, because this is the critical part of the game here in the first half. If you break games up half by half, you know UMass at home is going to make a run. This is where you have to sustain it and not lose the game if you're Xavier.
Padilla for 3. Off the mark, rebound controlled by Smith. Second shot opportunities are also something that has hurt Xavier this year. Is that pretty much a function of their lack of size, too, Terry?
I think so. I mean, they rebound pretty well for a team that's not big. They play hard.
Weak steps out. He can hit that, but this time he doesn't. Here's Anderson coming back the other way. Inside. Johnson with another good feed to Braggs, who finishes. Torrey Braggs out of Fresno, California, the top rebounder on the team, showing a soft touch offensively. He has 4. The lead down to 5.
Transfer from San Jose City College and has given them muscle inside that they didn't have a year ago. Didn't have that toughness inside. They were an 8-8 club in the Atlantic 10. Finesse club, a nice club, but now with Braggs in there and Posey as well, this is a tough team to go play physically.
9 on the shot clock for Padilla. Gets the screen from Weeks. Splits the double team nicely and has it knocked away. The Musketeers have numbers. Posey and Braggs following it up nicely with the room service tip-in.
And 3 Xavier players running down the floor, only 1 UMass player. Bruiser Flint wanting to know where the rest of his team was.
You'd like to see that happen, Terry. A guy follow up the play just in case. And that time, it came to pass.
Well, Padilla with his pocket pick. Look at that. Posey with the hand in there once he get by the initial line of defense, and they just fall by the wayside. The UMass defenders. But look at this. Braggs running the floor for a big man. Well, that's golden if you're Skip Prosser. So watch your big man do that, because The big men for UMass were standing back here at the other end.
Skip Prosser talking to his troops. He is one big-time motivator. His credo is, our chief want in life is someone who will make us do what we can. And he always likes to drop little motivational sayings to his team members. He draws up little things on the chalkboard. Every day his players bring a little notebook to practice, and they are told to write down something that he often will put into words for them, something that will motivate them.
I think that's very true, his words. I think if we can all find that person that makes us do more than we think we're capable of, we're lucky. I did. Jim Valvano was that man when I played at NC State.
Great inspiration for many people. Braggs loses the handle, and that is Xavier's 8th turnover of the game. Travieso back the other way. UMass leading by 3.
Well on their way to double-digit turnovers in the first half on the road. You don't win many games when you turn it over like that.
Boy, Terry, they are really laying off of Winston Smith, number 20 for UMass, daring him to take the jump shot.
Well, you take it away from Padilla, you take it away from Travieso. It's got to give it up somewhere.
A nice pick and roll. Weeks rolling to the basket that time, and Smith found him, and Weeks will get 2 at the foul line. That is his 2nd personal foul. And Tyrone Weeks out of Philadelphia, PA, stepping to the line.
He's got 7 double-doubles this year. As you look at Padilla getting a rest on the sideline, he's got those 2 fouls. Remember, so 6:48 left in the first half. We'll see what Bruiser Flint does. I think he's just giving him a rest. I think we'll see him back here in the first half.
Padilla among team leaders in minutes. Tyrone Weeks with 5 in the ball game to go along with 2 rebounds. You talked about his double-doubles, Terry. He has averaged 12 points and 12 boards in the last 5 games.
And he sustained one of the injuries that really kept UMass down early in the year. He was out for 4 games with a sprained ankle.
Weeks coming strong right now, has 6 in the ball game. UMass leads by 5 when we return. Payne-Weber College basketball back in Amherst, Massachusetts, where the Minutemen lead the Musketeers by 5 with 6:48 to play in the first half. I'm Mark Jones in the house along with Terry Gannon. Nestled away in the northeast, snowy outside but warm inside. UMass leading by 5 points. Well, Payne-Weber believes the best investment is an investment in education. They salute Pat Kelsey there on the bench as scholar athlete of the game and congratulate him on his own investment in the future. Payne-Weber recognizes that commitment to education with a $1,000 donation to Xavier University for ongoing research. Payne-Weber, you can't lose with an investment in education. 6:35 to play in the half. Carr wheeling, spinning around like a record on a turntable, and throws it away. Travieso misses. Smith doesn't. Winston Smith with the putback, the lead back up to 7.
But again, back on defense. Brown pushing the basketball up. Always the offensive pressure from Xavier. They make sure that if you're turning your head, you're going to get beat. But the guards have to get more involved, I think, in the half-court set. They're really giving the ball up down low in the paint. Not a whole lot coming from the outside.
Yeah, almost too unselfish. Unselfish to a fault. And we speak of Lumpkin and Brown, the duet in the backcourt for Xavier. Yet to get on track offensively. Padilla checking back into the game for the Minutemen.
And Winston Smith did a really nice job when he was in there, creating some steals on defense, getting the easy buckets on the other. Oh, speaking of steals.
And they turn it over. Lumpkin with the steal on the press. That press has really paid dividends for Xavier today.
Yeah, if they could handle the basketball themselves, they'd have a lead in this game.
Otherwise, that's been a big if all season.
Yeah, you're right. You look at UMass, if they don't have anything initially, that's what they want to do. Bring it back out, set up their half-court offense, get the ball in the hands of Padilla, let him create.
On top. Clark missing the jump shot. And a foul called on Xavier. Well, tomorrow night on ABC, Al, Frank, and Dan from Monday Night Football join Bob Saget for the year's greatest sports bloopers on America's Funniest Home Videos. Terry, are we going to be on that? Before live coverage of the AFC NFC Pro Bowl in most of the country, and right after the game on the West Coast tomorrow night on ABC. Brett Favre, the Green Bay Packers, the Super Bowl Packers, going to be there. Funniest sports bloopers. That would be fun. I don't want to see myself on there. I don't know about you.
Well, they have too many to choose from in our case, as a matter of fact. They couldn't make that choice, narrow it down.
That's 8 points in the ball game now for Lumpkin. Lumpkin, an 82% free throw shooter. You like to see your ball handlers good at the foul line, because at the end of games, they are often the ones who are sent to the line when handling the ball. Padilla double teamed. Weeks relieves the pressure. Now it's a 2-on-1. Travieso with range anywhere in the building.
And Mark, credit Tyrone Weeks for at least half of that bucket. Caught the ball in the middle, never put it on the floor. Travieso spotted up.
Travieso with 9 points in the ball game. He's UMass's leading scorer. Approaching 5 minutes to play in the half. Baseline drive, good by Brown.
Yeah, and they have to get something going. Brown doing it with the drive. Maybe Lumpkin from the outside now next.
I don't think I've ever seen UMass under the duress this year that Xavier has put them under, especially in the full court and three-quarter court pressure situations, Terry.
It's something that, even if they don't get the steals, by the end of the game, if you're Travieso and Padilla, you're just worn out.
Yeah, you have to be. Inside, Norville kicks it out to nobody in particular. Williams back the other way for Xavier. He throws up the floater. Williams seemingly out of control on that jump shot.
Yeah, you got to use the glass, too. That's a tough shot. You make it tougher by not using the backboard. From about 8 to 10 feet on the break, stopping and going straight up.
Xavier ball underneath. UMass leading by 4. Lumpkin cuts into that lead with a jump shot.
Yeah, that's, you saw a minute ago Brown go to the hoop. Lumpkin now from the outside. Got to get back, though.
And Padilla takes it to the steal. The tip-in is good by Norville. Enos Norville has 4 points in the ball game, and UMass lead back up to 4.
Guess what? This is going to be a ball game all the way through. And neither backcourt is going to let the other one dominate here.
And if they continue this pace, Terry, it would seem to favor Xavier, because they're in the 30s right now almost. Travieso trying to fill his hat.
He wanted that one, too. You could see the crowd was ready to explode.
It's Chuck and Duck basketball right now. Lumpkin. And a foul on the play. Norville not moving his feet, using his body, and that is his 3rd personal foul.
It's his 3rd, and they've been cheap fouls, too. They've been really fouls that, as a coach, you hate to see your big men pick up. He had one going over the back, just taking a swipe at the basketball a moment ago, and this foul wasn't a hustle foul.
Ajmal Bassett checking into the game for Norville. Charlton Clark also coming into the ball game. Here's Padilla. A 4-point lead for UMass.
So the small lineup in for the Minutemen right now, the 3-guard lineup, a bigger lineup for Xavier. They've got Carr in, they've got Braggs in, and they've got James Posey in.
Haven't heard much from Larry Kettner today. Weeks with the jump hook inside. The tip-up is good by Bassett. Bassett got position, and there you see the lack of height and boxing out hurting Xavier.
Now, Oswald Bassett had a big game against GW, too, and that win on the road a couple of days ago.
Out of bounds, Xavier trailing by 6 as we have a timeout with just under 3 minutes to play in the first half.
Second best three-point shooter in the Atlantic 10. He shows you why. This is a game.
Payne Weber College basketball on ABC Sports. Brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Ali, all day strong, all day long. U.S. Navy. Navy, let the journey begin. And Wendy's delicious spicy chicken sandwich. It'll make you feel warm all over.
Back at the Mullins Center, I'm Mark Jones along with Terry Gannon. UMass leads Xavier 32-26. Both teams coming in with a record of 5-2 in A-10 play. And Terry, a big discrepancy right now in points in the paint. UMass with 21 inside, Xavier just 9.
Getting a lot off the glass, too. That's where they have the advantage. Inside, the height advantage, and Xavier has dealt with that the entire year. Look at the second chance points. Off the glass, UMass doing a much better job, especially offensively.
And there's the points of the paint that we just mentioned. A big discrepancy. Lumpkin is the game's leading scorer. He has 11 for Xavier.
Nice.
Good patience on offense, and the flush by Bragg.
Well, that's a well-coached team, too. Coming out of the break when you run something like that, and then you get the little dish down off the penetration.
They really work the shot clock, too. They come back with a little trap, full court. A 1-2-1-1 press.
And the big men who can move, making that trap. Tough to throw over him.
Travieso using the jump stop, using the window, but it's no good. And a jump ball. Oh, and that'll be a technical foul on Braggs. Braggs arguing vehemently with the official. He wanted a foul on the play, but he didn't get it.
Automatic when you throw the ball down like that. No way of getting around it. If you don't catch that ball when it comes back up, they're going to tee you up.
That's when the official looks at you after you slam the ball and says, son, if that ball comes down, you're getting a technical foul.
Well, Skip's not going to go for it either. He's arguing with the official right now. But I'll guarantee you Braggs will have a seat next to him on the bench for at least a minute.
Braggs, the junior college transfer.
Yep, there he goes.
At the line is Clark taking the foul shot. Clark, a good free throw shooter for UMass, converts it. He has 3 in the ball game.
We talked about UMass and the turnaround in their season since they've gone to the 3-guard lineup. Clark misses the second one, but Xavier, the big win over Cincinnati early on, that was really the win that made people believe they were going to be awfully good. And you can see what it stemmed from. He thought he was being fouled from behind. And maybe he was, but anytime that happens, yeah, even the other team can make the call.
Bragg suffering from technical difficulty on that one. Padilla double teamed out top.
Oh,
and a nice pass to Bassett. Wow.
How did he even see Bassett underneath? He had 2 big men trapping him on the wing. And look at Travieso.
That was the play of the game so far, albeit a subtle one by the point guard. And an appreciative applause from the fans for Travieso at the hustle.
This is a tough, tough place to play for a road team. They only lost, coming into this season, they had lost 2 games here. They've lost 5 now overall because they've lost 3 this year when they were struggling early. But you come in here, you better be ready from the time the ball goes up to have the crowd right in your face.
Terry Lenny Brown fouled on the baseline on the dish. And Xavier Brown will go to the line. Well, coming up halftime, the MCI halftime report. John Saunders will have scores and highlights from a very busy Saturday afternoon in college basketball. Scores and highlights from the various conferences. Brown at the line at number 4 has 4 points in the ball game. Now you can make it 5. He's a 64% free throw shooter, shooting 45% from the field and 39% from three-point territory. Brown makes both. And the lead now down to 5.
About that time in college basketball where you look to the tournament. Obviously, if you're UMass, you're still trying to get in. You've got 11 wins and 9 losses. Not out of the question yet, but you better keep this winning streak up. And Xavier's going to go. They're 14-3. But you want to be playing well, obviously, for the best seed that you can get, but also just to be on a roll going into the tournament. A lot of basketball still to happen, though, before that.
That's true. A-10, a strong conference. Weeks rolling to the bucket on the pick and roll, and he hits the jump shot. Tyrone Weeks with 8 points in the ball game and coming on. As we approach 1 minute to go in the first half, UMass leads by 7.
Look at the pressure now from UMass defensively. Xavier's had it the entire game, but now the Minutemen, except for Padilla here, he's going to let Lumpkin go ahead and handle the basketball that far away from the hoop.
Johnson has it knocked away by Padilla. And he finds Travieso. Oh, 2 ball fakes.
How many more defenders are there?
For 3, and the miss by Clark. Here's Brown, quickly back the other way. That's what you call transition basketball. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what's called being able to keep your poise on the road. The crowd, as loud as they've been, UMass on a run here, and they turn it around with the steal, and then or the rebound off the miss, and then you make them pay at the other end.
Transition basketball, Terry, very much about just filling the lanes and running as hard as you can. And that's what Xavier's been doing today. 12 seconds to go in the first half. Xavier trailing by 5. Padilla out top.
Look who's guarding him, too. Posey shouldn't be able to stay with him on the dribble. And
Padilla crosses him up, but Bassett can't find the handle. The pass may be a little bit hot. And with 1.8 to go in the half, Xavier will get a chance.
Yeah, as in a Clemens fastball. He gunned that one.
That one had heat on it. Lumpkin about 20 feet short, and that's the first 20 minutes in the books. Travieso still needing 5 points to reach the 1,000-point plateau in career points. The NCAA halftime report is coming up next with John Saunders, scores and highlights. Xavier trailing by 5 in Amherst. UMass is at halftime. Surprising that both teams are shooting very well from the field when you look at how well both teams play defensively, Terry.
They can't take care of the basketball, though. That's the problem. 13 turnovers and 12 turnovers, so it's been the story in the first half. Padilla sets up so well his big man, and that's been one of the keys for UMass in the first half. Enos Norval on the receiving end that time. So much attention paid to the guards, but they've been doing it. But on the defensive end, Xavier doing a great job in steals. They've got 8 steals in the first half. It comes off that pressure. But if they could take care of the basketball, Mark, it'd be a different story. You see what they've done. 13 turnovers for them in the first half. Both of these teams shooting the ball very well. And Lumpkin, the leading scorer so far, he's got 13. So they're doing the job from the outside. And they're very much in this game, but they just need to take care of the rock much better in the second half.
And speaking of taking care of the rock, Edgar Padilla needed 2 assists coming into the game to move into the number 2 spot at UMass all-time on the career list. And Padilla has 5 in the first half, and he has now officially moved into the number 2 spot. He has enough to feed the needy. And look at the scoring leaders.
Lumpkin with 13 so far, doing it from the outside. Brown with 6. He needs to get it going, I think, offensively a little bit more for Xavier. But that's their whole key, taking care of the basketball. You can't turn it over 13 times in the first half and expect to win on the road. So given that, Skip Prosser, I think, probably pretty happy at halftime, only being down 5 points.
Sure.
Not happy about that stat, though. 8-1 UMass when leading at the half.
Brown inside. Nice feed to T.J. Johnson, who's fouled by Tyrone Weeks. For Weeks, that is his 2nd personal foul. Weeks had a good first half. On 2 of 4 shooting, 4 for 4 from the line. Had 8 points for UMass. Here's Brown on the wing. Travieso guarding him. Johnson working hard to get open inside. Lumpkin missing the jumper outside. And Clark has the rebound.
And when Johnson works hard, that's a big mass working. He's 6'7", 250, and I think he goes more than 250.
Here's Padilla. Number 4 back in the game, Kettner, but they turn it over. Here's Williams. Throws up the runner, and it goes.
Starting the second half just like they played the first half, with the steals, getting some buckets off of those steals.
Darnell Williams cuts the lead to 3.
And always the pressure. Look at this. Right in the face is Lumpkin up Padilla.
And you brought it up in the first half, Terry. You wonder if fatigue and fitness might become a factor later on in the game as a result of all that pressure by Xavier.
I think just mentally, every time you look up, they're right there.
Travieso fouled on his foray to the bucket by Lenny Brown. That is his 2nd personal foul. Travieso will get 2 at the stripe. Travieso, the team's leading scorer at 14.4 per game. And a good free throw shooter.
Well, Skip Prosser, after the year at Loyola, won a conference championship there. Conference championship in the Midwestern Collegiate Conference with Xavier. But one of the reasons that he took this job,
was the fact that they were moving to the Atlantic 10, and the A-10 has become one of the premier conferences in the country. I mean, the ACC this year, and I think over the past, whatever you want to say, 20 years has been the best, changes every year, given the players in each conference. And I think the A-10 is on a level now that they haven't been in a long, long time. Maybe, probably not ever.
No doubt. You look at some of the teams there. It is a daunting challenge when you go on the road trying to win.
Well, with some of the teams that hadn't won in the past or been powers in the past, like a Rhode Island, and they lead the eastern part of the conference. I mean, that's tough.
And Brown with a tough baseline drive. He has 8 in the ball game. The lead is down to 1. And here's that full court pressure that bothered Massachusetts, and it's still pestering them. Under duress, they turn it over. Lumpkin in control. Lumpkin with the baseline join, and he's blocked by Padilla.
What a play by Padilla after he threw the ball away. You never see him make a pass like that. He comes back, makes up for it.
Padilla wearing that ankle brace on his right leg.
The deep bone bruise that he has. He just had to make the decision to come back and play with pain.
Travieso goes bang. Carmelo Travieso has 12 in the ball game. Nobody was guarding him. Nobody got a hand in his face, and UMass increasing the lead back to 4.
His next field goal will put him at or over 1,000 points.
UMass swinging the ball. Bragg's working to get open. Nice move inside and 1. Braggs with the pump fake to put his man in the air, and he finished well. Torrey Braggs out of Fresno, California. One more look at a nice play.
And what he does so well on this play is that he has patience. You know, he doesn't try to move too quickly. You have to be quick, but it's an old John Wooden saying, be quick without hurrying. And that's what he does. Keeps his feet planted, the little ball fake, goes up strong, uses the glass, doesn't hurry at all. He knows he's going to get fouled or the bucket or both.
Braggs at the line trying to complete the three-point play, which he does. And it's a one-point ball game. Xavier has never led today. And they like to press after a made foul shot. That's what they do right here. And almost get another turnover.
I feel like crowd had a notion. Yeah, crowd didn't like it, but that was a smart play to bring it back.
And Padilla walks with it. So again, that pressure causing tempo problems for UMass.
And Bruiser Flint up and saying, slow it down, fellas. You don't need to rush it up the court. Take it when you have it. But he doesn't want this game. We talked about it in the open. He does not want this game going up and down the floor.
Terry, UMass with 15 turnovers. Xavier with 14. The Musketeers with an opportunity to take the lead with a baseline hook shot, and it's good. Braggs coming on. He is rife and surging with confidence right now. He has 13, and a restless murmur coming from the stands now here in Amherst.
Better get it over. Better get it over. They just do. 25 on the shot clock when that ball came across.
And Padilla says we'll take a 20-second timeout. The official never saw him, but a nice little baseline move by Braggs, Terry.
And you mentioned it a minute ago, confidence. You can see it not only in this move down low, the little jump hook. This is pretty. Straight up, quick, right over normal. Nice shot by Braggs, but you can see it in the team, too. On the road, they've been here before. Confident in these opening minutes of the second half.
And conspicuous by his silence and absence today, Larry Kettner for UMass, the sophomore, 6'10", out of Philadelphia, coming off a great game a couple of nights ago. It's his birthday today. He turns 20 today, but so far he has 3 fouls, and he has been saddled with foul trouble throughout the day.
No party so far.
No. It's being spoiled by Xavier. Xavier with a 1-point lead, 16-13 to play in the second half. Travieso for 3, got it.
He's so quick going up, isn't he? Because he's ready to shoot all the time.
And speaking of quick, Brown back quickly the other way for Xavier. Williams with the pump. Weeks with a strong carom and the rebound.
That's a frustration foul by Darnell Williams. You miss an easy little jump shot in the lane. You go after the basketball. Good hustle, but you pick up a foul 9 times out of 10.
UMass with a 2-point lead as a result of the 3-pointer by Travieso. Travieso now has surpassed the 1,000-point plateau. He has 1,001 career points at UMass.
Next dead ball, they should stop and give the basketball to Carmelo Travieso.
And Padilla fouled by Braggs on the play. Carmelo Travieso has caught fire in a big way. Here in the second half, number 24 has gone three-point shooting mad. Here's the first one.
I could watch him do this all day long. Just spot up, get ready to shoot, let Edgar Padilla set you up. He's going to find you. Look at that. That is picture book and perfect. Wow.
Break off a piece of that. We'll be right back.
State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most. And for leading-edge technologies in electronic and electrical engineering, depend on Siemens Precision Thinking.
A special moment transpiring while we were in our commercial break. Carmelo Travieso receiving the game ball after scoring his 1,000th career point here at UMass.
Yeah, but you saw him give it back. He wants to keep that one in play. He's on a roll right now. He's hot.
Yeah, when you're a shooter, you say, you know what? The ball feels good. This one works well.
I'll get it after the game. Don't worry about it, guys.
Look at the field goal situation this half. UMass 2 for 2, both of them. Those three-pointers by Travieso.
And now they...
Clark, unobstructed view of the basket, unable to get it to fall. And back comes Xavier, trailing by 2. They swing it around nicely. Brown for 3. Wide open, and he misses it. Out of bounds, UMass ball.
Needless to say, Skip does not like this. He almost fell off the back of his chair after that call. He couldn't believe it was going the other way. You talk to the players about Skip Prosser, and they say the thing that jumps out that they like the best is that you know where he stands. You always know where you stand with Skip Prosser. He lets you know.
As a player, that's all you can ask for, and a foul on the play against UMass. Well, coming up next on Wide World, men's competition of the European Figure Skating Championships from Paris, France. This year's contenders, Alexei Ermanov, among others, and from the Winter X Games, snowboarding and snow mountain biking competitions. And on Wide World Classic, Evel Knievel's daring attempt to jump 13 double-deck buses in London's Wembley Stadium. I bet you he doesn't quite make it. The question is, how many bones did he break on that jump?
You don't think he'll make it?
You got a feeling. Tough way to earn a living. UMass up by 2 with 14:38 to play in the second half. Williams with a tough inside move, and he's fouled.
We've made quite a bit out of the fact that Xavier is not a tall team, and they're at a disadvantage inside against UMass and against most teams that they play. But they do have the advantage in the guard spot, not only with the talent of Brown and Lumpkin, but with a Williams who completes that three-guard lineup, as you see Weeks with his third foul. And he can take you down low. He can take you in the paint and operate there. He's used to working down low. And not many teams can match up with actually either Xavier or UMass in that three-guard lineup.
But as you talk about down low, number 4, the imposing figure down low for UMass, Terry. Larry Kettner checking back into the game.
Like to turn his birthday around.
Sure would. Travieso outside. There's Padilla. Kettner working hard. Nice inside move. You can see his moxie around the basket, but he can't finish. Weeks with the putback, and his jump hook is short. Nice look down court by Xavier, and Williams with the finger roll, and we're tied at 43. Williams with 4 points in the ball game.
And Williams, that third man in the three-guard offense, if any team's going to run a three-guard lineup, that third man has to be versatile. He has to be able to play down low, not only offensively, but then guard someone who is maybe 3-4 inches bigger than he is at the other end, know how to use his body.
Terry, it seems as if Xavier is releasing a man right as the shot goes up when UMass shoots the ball. That's how they've gotten so many fast break opportunities today.
Bruiser wants the foul, but Kettner's got to be more aggressive inside going after that ball.
Yeah, Posey checking into the ball game now. Williams sitting down. This is the first tie of the ball game at 43. Travieso can't break the tie, but Kettner can. Happy birthday, Larry Kettner, his first deuce of the game. Kettner sitting out last year because he was a partial qualifier, and it really hurt him too because he was unable to practice with the team and lost a little bit of his timing. But a good story in hard work and persistence. He ended up a Dean's List student, doing a good job in the classroom, and it comes back the other way now. A traveling violation against Braggs.
Yeah, a 3.0 in the classroom, as a matter of fact, the GPA in the fall. But you're right, that's one of the things that makes it really tough on kids. And I think you need that discipline from the coach. I think the more you're around your coach and the staff, I think you have more discipline in your life and in the classroom.
We are tied at, actually, scratch that. UMass leads by 2, 45-43. Crowd becoming a little bit restless here at the Mullins Center. Inside to Weeks. And his jump hook is good.
And UMass has made the decision in the last couple of minutes to work the paint. Get it to Weeks, get to Kettner, see what they can do.
And a foul called against Padilla. Padilla now with 3 fouls.
Been a long time between that second and third foul, though.
Yeah.
He played more than 10 minutes of that first half with 2 fouls. You see at the other end what they're trying to do. Weeks backing in, using his body in the nice little turnaround jump shot. They're going to Weeks. They're going to Kettner, using that advantage in the paint.
Here's Brown off the curl, the screen, using the jump stop. No good, Travieso. They've got numbers. And Travieso's got a notion, but he's rejected.
Should have given it up.
Lumpkin. And he almost got fouled, too. It counts. Lumpkin, serious and lethal in the open court. He has 15.
How did he get it up on the glass? Never left the floor.
And a foul called against Posey. And it was almost a 5-second violation against Travieso, getting the ball inbound. That's his first personal. Much to the chagrin and dismay of head coach Prosser.
You don't mind those fouls if you're a coach, though. You go back to the last one. Look at the hesitation and the move on the big guy. And a lot of contact. He never got off the ground because of the contact. Oh, that's concentration.
They break the pressure this time. And here's Padilla out top.
Can you imagine this backcourt, though, in 2 years? They're only sophomores right now, Brown and Lumpkin.
It's frightening. One guy likes gospel music. The other one more of a rap music guy. But they make sweet music on the court together.
I was wondering how you're going to tie that in. You got around to it.
A little Kurt Franklin to the family to go with R. Kelly. And a traveling violation. And a timeout called. Charged to UMass. Bruiser ball leading by 2 with 11:35 to play here in the second half. We'll be right back.
That is sizzling. When they take care of the ball, they get good shots, and they've obviously got the guards to hit the threes from the outside. It's just a matter of making sure you don't turn it over. They've done a better job in the second half of setting guys up.
Yeah, how many times do you shoot 59% from the field but still trail by 2 points this late? Like I said, it's a tie game. Braggs with the jump shot.
60% and going up.
He has 15 in the ball game. The big guy's showing a little bit of range there, stepping out.
What UMass hasn't been able to do in the second half, they did it a little bit early on, is against that pressure, they're taking care of the ball, but they're not scoring. So they're going to see it the entire game, and Xavier just gets more and more aggressive because they know they're not going to see a basket at the other end.
Weeks, a big body and a big target inside. Clark can't get it to him. 10 on the shot clock. Padilla comes off the screen. They like that play, and Larry Kettner tips it in. He has 4. All 4 in the second half.
Perfect play, though, by Padilla.
Brown for 3. And he's fouled. And he'll get 3 shots, too. That's the second time today that a UMass player has fouled a Xavier player while taking a 3-pointer.
And at this point, all Bruiser can do is smile. It happened earlier. Padilla fouled Anderson, who's not really a jump shooter. This time it is Brown who can shoot the basketball, but the 4th foul of Weeks. The other end off the screen and roll. Johnson just doesn't have the speed to stay up with Edgar Padilla. The nice follow by Kettner but it was all created by Edgar Padilla off of the screen and roll. Well, it's not just quickness, as you know, that gets you to the basket, but it's basketball smarts. You saw Johnson switch on the screen. There's no way he could stay with him.
Yeah, Terry, that's a play that they like to use when all else fails, pick and rolling, when you have good guard play.
Yep.
It can cause a lot of offensive opportunities for you. Lenny Brown with 4 points in the game.
Hey, he's been quiet, hasn't he?
Sure has. Makes the second of 3. And now a chance to knock the game at 49 is Tyrone Weeks. We'll watch this one for the next few minutes. And it is a tie game at 49. Brown has 10.
They struggled getting it in, too. Almost had a 5-second there again.
Yeah, you'd think they'd come to expect the pressure, the full court pressure after made foul shot. Xavier's done it all game. And they turn it over.
Can't leave your feet, make that pass.
Brown looked for Lumpkin, and now Lumpkin has it out top. Xavier with a chance to take the lead with 10-10 to play in the second half. Wide open, Brown, and Xavier is up. They lead 51-49. Brown coming on now. He has 12.
And that pressure gets more intense. You take the lead, you sense you have a chance to win on the road, and that defensive pressure gets even harder to beat.
And Xavier now, Terry, has to be shooting above 60% from the field, which is phenomenal. Xavier, one of the highest scoring teams in the country as the week began. Travieso with the ball fake. He's off the mark. Rebound Xavier. Both players, Posey and Johnson, corralling the rebound.
But Johnson knocking down everybody in his path, including his own players.
Bodies strewn across the lane as Lumpkin goes to work. The dish goes awry.
And the guard's getting it done, too, for Xavier. Now you see the pass. Lumpkin just waiting for his backcourt mate, Brown, who read the defense perfectly off the screen. That time, Travieso got caught on the high side. You can't do that with a jump shooter. You have to go right with him through the screen. You can't cheat around top.
Here's Clark with the lob, and it's good. Ooh, is it ever good to Kettner? No diggity, it's good. It's tied at 51.
Guess what? This one's going to the buzzer.
Larry Kettner providing the oof on the alley-oop.
And the birthday getting a little better now. And this is where your guards are so important when you're on the road. A big play, the crowd is up. You got to take the air out a little bit if you're Xavier.
Brown looking inside. Now he gets the screen from Johnson. Whistle and a travel against Brown.
Skip's going to get a 20. You can feel it coming. You can sense it coming from the Minutemen.
And that's exactly what the call is. And Skip Foster is mad. Big time. Well, tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on ABC Sports. Georgia Tech against Duke. Number 9, Louisville against Temple. That's where Terry and I'll be. And number 10, Arizona, featuring Mike Bibby and company, Michael Dickerson and company, meeting the Washington Huskies. And you speak about good backcourts, Terry. Louisville and DeJuan Wheat. He's one of the best guards in the country.
Yeah, and a good young backcourt for Temple, too. That's a young team, but they've had some big wins. Yeah, I think that's going to be a war. You play against that Temple matchup. You never see it the way they play it. You go in, it's at the Spectrum. Louisville off a big win against Cincinnati. That's a tough game for Louisville.
Well, Pepe Sanchez of Temple hitting a runner, three-pointer at the buzzer to beat LaSalle earlier this week.
And it beat St. Joe's. They struggled early, too, but that's a much better Temple team as well. And their big win coming over Cincinnati.
Xavier shooting 68% from the field. Travieso. Clark with the jumper, pardon me. That's 5 for him.
This is the run. We saw it in the first half, about a 4-minute run. And this is their chance here in the second. If you're Xavier, you got to take some time now.
Brown working hard and forcing it up.
Not a good shot.
15 on the shot clock. Posey Oh, yes. He likes it like that. A three-pointer gives Xavier a 1-point lead. Under 8 minutes to play. Posey has 5.
That's huge. And there might not be anything in basketball that's more fun than what Posey just did. On the road, and you make everybody sit out.
Yeah, that puts a silencer on the sellout crowd here at the Mullins Center. Travieso working to get open. Goes glass. Kentner says, yes, it's my party, and I'll tip it in if I want to. He has 8, all coming here in the second half. The big fella has come alive, and Clark with a defensive gem.
2 big plays by Clark. One at the offensive end, one at the defensive end with the strip.
Padilla out top.
Watch for Travieso now. They'll try to work him around the screen. Didn't get it.
Clark on the baseline screen gets open, wide open, almost too wide open.
You're
That's
right.
Too much time to think about it, Terry.
Yeah, you get in your head at that point. Just let it fly.
Lumpkin inside to Johnson. Nice. Lumpkin for 3, and he made Padilla pay for gambling down low, Terry.
You can't double down off of Lumpkin or Brown, especially Lumpkin.
Lumpkin has 18. Xavier leads by 2 with 6.5 to play. I'm Mark Jones along with Terry Gannon. And this a clash between 2 of the top teams in the Atlantic 10, both coming in with 5-2 records. Travieso goes bang. But don't sleep on Posey, and he's fouled by Kentner. Kentner can't believe it. But he better believe it. That's his 4th. And just as he was coming on offensively with 8 points all in the second half, he's now saddled with his 4th personal foul.
Yeah, he really started to play well in the second half when he came off the bench about 4 minutes ago. 2 tip-ins, couple of big plays defensively, and now what do you do if you're Bruiser Flint? You got 6:09 left, and you've got a 1-point game. I think he's going to let him play for at least a couple of minutes and see if he can get by with that.
Yeah, Terry, I'm not against coaches going on field and letting guys play with 4 fouls. Or even 3 in the first half.
You know, I'm with you. I think a lot of times when you have a strict rule that if a guy gets 2 fouls in the first half, he's going to sit down no matter who he is, no matter what the situation. I think you tie yourself in when you don't have to. I think a coach does have a feel in the game about the way a guy's playing, whether or not he can stay in there without fouling.
Xavier has a 1-point lead after the 2 foul shots. Bruiser ball in full effect. There's a timeout in the action. Xavier leads by 1.
For Xavier, 12 for Brown, 18 for Lumpkin. And the backcourt for UMass, obviously, the 2 players that lead them most of the time. Travieso, 1,000 points plus today, spotting up from 3-point range. He's got 18, 5 3-pointers, 5 points on the afternoon, but 6 key assists for Edgar Padilla. And obviously, in the last 6:05 mark, the backcourts become the main key in the ball game because you have to take care of the basketball here.
And Terry, you know what's often overlooked when it comes to Carmelo Travieso is the fact that often what he does is he covers the opponent's best scoring guard. And that's a tough assignment in this league.
And it wears you out. And by the end of the game, you've used a lot of your energy just trying to play defense.
Clark can't find the handle. UMass turns it over. And Xavier with an opportunity to increase its lead to 3 points. Lumpkin sitting down. Brown coming in for him. Both hailing from the state of Delaware. Brown from Wilmington. Lumpkin from Newcastle. Anderson in the ball game as well. Bragg steps out. He's had a good day offensively for Xavier. Nice ducking by T.J. Johnson, and he finishes nicely. Johnson, not much of an offensive threat. He has 3 points today, but he showed a lot of offensive savvy there, Terry.
That's a load to guard. 6'7", 250 once he gets it in the paint. Now a little zone defense from Xavier. They change it up with Anderson in the ballgame.
Xavier leading by 3 with under 5 minutes to play. Padilla stripped, but Kentner gets it back, and he says, look what I found. The birthday boy now with 10, all in the second half.
Had a terrific second half.
Boy, the coaching staff and the players extremely excited about his potential and his talent. Braggs may have gotten away with a hook, and he didn't get away with it.
Yeah, that's a good call. He used the arm to get around Bassett. You see that called in the NBA all the time. Not as much in college basketball, but a great call by the official.
Braggs committing the infraction and whistled for it. That is his third personal foul.
Well, Marquette and Tulane tied late in that game. Good one going on in Conference USA. There's the, watch this now. Look at the right hand. Oh, there's no question about that. And a lot of times the official's not going to really catch it because, you know, he's in the lane. You can't really see that. That was a nice job.
Oh, he locked him up all right, using that free hand. Haven't seen much full court pressure, Terry, from Xavier in the last 5 minutes, although they do lead by a point.
You'll see more of it, though, Mark. 4:24 left when they get their backcourt back. Well, the backcourt just came back in. Anderson's had a seat. I think they'll go ahead next time down. You'll see that full court pressure.
Travieso working the baseline. This is Clark going to the basket, and he's fouled on the play. Charlton Clark, number 3, lacerating the lane, knifing into the defense, and he's fouled on the play.
You know a coach is loud when you can hear him all the way across the floor, and he's not mic'd.
Skip Prosser in his 3rd year. And Clark uses all of the steal on that one. The ball did a victory lap before falling.
Clean living when that falls down.
No doubt. The game tied at 61.
His emergence has allowed Travieso really just to spot up on the floor. Doesn't have to worry about handling the basketball much because Clark can help Padilla out with that.
And they are bringing the noise here at the Mullins Center. UMass leading by 1. Brown out top.
Braggs wants it inside. Now he's too far away from the basket.
Kettner has 4 fouls. See if they go at him or not, which they do. They drive on him. Kettner comes up with the block. Out of bounds, Xavier ball.
It's a good idea to take Kettner to the basket, but why not post up, catch the ball in the paint, make him use his body? Don't use the ball on the perimeter if you're Braggs. And Bruiser on the sideline arguing this one. He thought it should have gone the other way.
UMass by 1 when we return.
Part of the toughest, smartest army in the world. Be all you can be. Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. And State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I'm Mark Jones along with Terry Gannon here at the Mullins Center, where UMass leads Xavier 62-61 in a game that has seen 5 lead changes and 4 ties. A look at the reset situation. Both teams with a couple of timeouts remaining, full timeouts, and 1:20. Both teams in the bonus. The possession arrow. And Brown with the inbound pass. A tough shot. Couldn't get it back. Here's Clark. A 3-on-1. Travieso. Oh, yeah. Travieso with a game-high 20 points.
Key possession for Xavier now. Coming out of the timeout after giving that one up. And they get the foul down low.
And Kettner is gone.
Yep.
That is his 5th.
You know, and the difference there, Mark, they went on the block with Johnson with his back to the basket, the more physical player, and they went right to Kettner. Instead of taking him out on the perimeter, they made sure that he had to use his body, and he got the call.
And Kettner has fouled out with 10 points and 4 rebounds, all coming in the second half.
Nice bounce pass, though, on the previous play after the steal. Travieso off the glass, under control, and a 3-on-1. Watch, can't run it any better than this. Keep the ball in the middle of the floor, the nice bounce pass to lead Travieso. You make a decision to give it to your guard, who is used to getting it on the break and going up and scoring. That's nice.
Well, I'm sure that he will have better birthdays in the future. This one not too bad. 10 points, 4 boards for Larry Kettner out of Philadelphia.
Going to be a player.
Oh, yes.
Only a sophomore.
And T.J. Johnson makes the first of 2 foul shots. The score 64-62. Johnson, one of the tri-captains of this team, a major contributor on defense, says, I'm not the quickest guy out there, or the most athletic, so I have to use my smarts, which he does, which he did on that last play. Trouble getting it inbounds, and Norville comes back to help out.
But here's the pressure that you mentioned a minute ago wasn't there from Xavier.
Out of bounds.
That's off of Travieso.
And they get the turnover.
Excuse me, Padilla, yeah.
And Posey's head crashed hard to the floor. I mean, you could feel it about 20 feet away where we are sitting, Terry. He was run over, and the back of his head smacked against the hard.
Now, the trainer came on the floor to take a look at Posey. They have to take him out or take a timeout when the trainer comes on the floor. Nice job of taking the charge right there. He didn't get the call. That's where his head hit the floor.
He got a knee, pardon me, in the back of the head.
Yeah, he's still holding his head.
Posey has 7 points as he sits down on the bench. He took a knee.
But now Skip Prosser asking the officials what the situation is, if the trainer actually went on the floor, which he did. Watch his back of his head. Yeah, he hit the knee of Edgar Padilla.
That'll rattle your feelings.
Yes, it will.
Posey not in the game. He's being attended to on the sidelines. Xavier with an opportunity to take the lead with 3:12 to play in the second half. See what they call out of the timeout. They go to Braggs down low on the ISO, and he is fouled. A good play out of the timeout. Braggs will get 2 at the stripe, and that is the 5th foul. Norville is gone.
So you lose Kettner, you lose Norville. And now you have to stay with your small lineup, and you have to play with someone who is not used to being in there at the end of the game.
This becoming a battle of attrition. Enos Norville leaving with 4 points as he joins Larry Kettner on the bench, who's also fouled out.
So it's Ajmal Bassett who comes into the game, a freshman. And he's gotten quality minutes this year, played pretty well, but he's not normally in there in the last 3 minutes of a 1-point game, unless they're in foul trouble.
Braggs with a chance to tie it up, a 74% free throw shooter. Just the way he drew it up. He has 16 in the ball game.
Yeah, but it's got him talking to himself, too. A lot of rimmage.
And an opportunity for Xavier to take the lead. That time used too much of the steal.
Guess what? We said in the first half this baby was going down to the buzzer, and it is.
Flint calling out the set offensively. Travieso using the screen.
Nice defense by Williams.
They go inside to the freshman Bassett, and they are digging down low on him. Forces one up. Weeks with the putback. Got it. Tyrone Weeks gives Xavier a 2-point lead with his 12th point of the game.
So UMass up 2 right now. And now it comes down to your guard. Oh, the quick step. How about the quick first step by Lumpkin right around Padilla.
And Padilla with his 4th foul. And Lumpkin will shoot the bonus. All time permitting, folks, don't forget, immediately after the game, the Army post-game report. John Saunders with all the scores and highlights.
Some big games in college basketball, too. The Maryland and Wake was a great game the first time around, and a tight one today, too. And speaking of the ACC, I got to mention it.
Go ahead,
They don't get many chances like this.
One time.
NC State in their first ACC win of the year. The upset over the number 7 Clemson Tigers at Reynolds Coliseum.
Lumpkin steps to the line and makes the first. Unable to tie it up, out of bounds. UMass ball. Let's see if they come with the pressure, which they will, Terry.
Yeah, you know they will. At this point in the game, they're going to put it on every time down. Even after a miss sometimes, they'll put some pressure up in the front court.
That time they get it in bounds easy. And here's the beauty of having a 3-guard lineup. You have 3 guys which can handle the pill.
Yeah, that's what Charlton Clark gives you. Otherwise, it'd be Padilla and Travieso. Travieso, he just wants to spot up. He'd love to be freed up so he can just spot up and shoot.
Travieso using the screen to get open, puts it up, and he's fouled. Oh, and Lumpkin cannot believe it. His second personal foul. Was that during a 3-point attempt?
I believe it was. We'll see if his foot was on the line or not. But I'm not even sure how he got this ball up. Watch this. The nice bounce pass by Padilla, but Lumpkin's right there in his face. And if he got him, we couldn't tell if his foot was on the line or not, but he just barely grazed the arm on the way up.
Travieso, meanwhile, makes the first of 3, pardon me, to give UMass a 2-point lead. A look at his offensive numbers today. Very prolific numbers. Well, Coach Prosser's a motivator, and he's got to motivate his troops now. They trail by 4 with 1:48 to go.
Plenty of time, though. You can't panic if you're Xavier, and you don't need a 3. You're down 4 points, 2-possession game, but you can get it back. And a minute 40 and counting is an eternity.
Drags inside, working on the freshman. Nice dish to T.J. Johnson, and they call it timeout.
Have they done some work in the paint in the second half?
Boy, for a team that is that small, Terry, they sure get it done inside, especially in the second half.
And T.J. Johnson has just had a terrific second half. They work well together inside. The nice little pass down low. Watch this. The spin move, the pass. He didn't have it initially, and then they get the bucket. That is pretty, and we got a 2-point ball game.
Stick around.
Of the Atlantic 10, and that game nationally televised. The first one in Mullen Center history for the women. That's on ESPN2. There are a lot of people excited about that. They expect a huge crowd.
Had a little pep rally here for the women's team at halftime, in fact. Look at the game reset.
2 full timeouts for UMass, only 1 for Xavier. A lot of contact right in front of us.
No call. Travieso had a notion and kicks it back out. Here's Padilla on top with 17 on the shot clock. 1:12 to play on the game clock. UMass leading by 2.
That's where this backcourt is so good. They've done it so many times.
Clark spins. Lumpkin flopped on the play, and he didn't get the foul call.
Again, you don't need the 3 if you're Xavier. Just under a minute. With a 4-point game, 2 possessions. You can take your time here, get a good one.
Brown with the pull-up, off balance. Johnson working inside and is fouled. T.J. Johnson is getting the job done. In the last 5 possessions offensively, he has done yeoman work inside. The foul is Clark's 3rd.
There's the contact, the push off that Xavier wanted as a foul, and not a whole. I think it's a good no call. I don't think there was a whole lot of contact there. A lot of acting going on. Nice spin by Clark.
Yeah, Lumpkin playing the role of the thespian on that one. Although he's not a theater of arts major.
And how about T.J. Johnson? Got a great second half.
Clark, how do you really feel?
Yeah. Express your emotions a little bit more, Charlton.
His voice intoning vehemently as UMass leads by 4 with a timeout. A 22nd timeout called. And Charlton Clark, who made the bucket moments ago for UMass, watch his reaction after the missed foul shot by Xavier.
They say the eyes tell it all. Yeah, I think he's a little excited.
The eyes, the body, the arms, the hands.
So much for not letting him see a sweat. Express it all.
Yeah.
Good 22nd timeout, though, I think, by Bruiser Flint. After the miss, you make sure your club knows what the situation is. Time and score, what you want to do offensively, who you want to get the ball to against that pressure in case Xavier goes after you and tries to foul you and send you to the line.
Made foul shot by Johnson would make it a 3-point lead. He's a 64% free throw shooter. And And he makes the second. It's a three-point game.
Big free throw because it's now a one-possession game. You don't have to foul if you don't want to if you're Xavier.
Padilla gets the pass, and they foul Edgar Padilla.
But if you're going to foul, if you're going to do that, that's a good decision. Do it right away. Go for the steal on the first pass, the inbounds, and then whoever gets the ball, go ahead and foul him right away. Padilla, not the guy you'd really love to see at the line if you're Skip Prosser, though. He's an 85% free throw shooter. But that was set up by Bruiser Flint, making sure that Padilla was the guy who got the inbounds pass. That's where the 20-second timeout paid off.
Good point. Bruiser Flint, the second youngest coach in Division I basketball. Padilla missing badly that time.
That was almost an air ball.
Nothing behind that. Could have used a little more legs in that shot. And a timeout called by the Musketeers with 35.8 ticks left. They trail by 3.
Take a good look at that because it doesn't happen very often to Edgar Padilla.
The chess match will commence from this point on. Coach, what you going to do? UMass leading by 3. Xavier with the ball when we come back from the timeout. And Terry, let's talk a little bit of strategy. 35.8 to play. You go for a quick 3 or you take your time and get a 2?
Well, you don't have to go for the 3. You still have plenty of time to do what they just did a moment ago, to try to get a steal after the 2 and then a foul right away. You saw Padilla miss it. So after a deuce, it makes it a 1-point game. However, your guards are your scorers. So it might develop as a 3 anyway. Lenny Brown is the man who they've gone to in the past. He's created. He hit the game winner against Cincinnati. It was a 3, and he's certainly capable. He's 4 out of 10 today. And you have your other guard, Gary Lumpkin, who's certainly capable too. So I think you don't have to shoot the 3 mark, but it may come in the form of that.
We talked about the pressure by Xavier. When players get tired, the legs go first, and shots are short. That may have been what happened to Padilla on that last foul shot.
Travieso on Brown. Now they switch. Charlton on him.
Lumpkin down low to Braggs, who's been big today. Nice ball fake, and he's fouled by the freshman, Ajmal Bassett, and he'll get 2 at the line. Braggs with a good ball fake. So they come out of the timeout, Terry, and they'll get 2 shots out at the line, plus they stop the clock with 19.7 to play.
The defense, though, Mark, took away anything that they had planned to Lenny Brown. Travieso, and then the switch, Clark denied him the basketball. So that was obviously option number 2 to Braggs inside. Still very much in this game, though. If he knocks them both down, it's a 1-point game, and you can foul if you don't get a steal right away.
Braggs, a 74% free throw shooter. Today, right around 74%, 3 for 4. Money. And it's a 1-point game with 19.7 to play.
Got to deny Padilla the basketball.
Clark almost had it knocked away. T.J. Johnson fouls, and you have to question the wisdom of that foul just a little bit. They went for the steal. Well, they stopped the clock and send Clark to the line.
I think it's a good foul. I think it's what you wanted. I mean, you denied Padilla the basketball, and Clark comes in. I know he's almost an 80% free throw shooter, but he's only a sophomore. I mean, here's a guy who hasn't been tested in this kind of situation that often throughout his career, and you only let 1 second go off the clock.
Skip Prosser motioning to his team to box out, check out.
All right, so even if he hits this free throw, Xavier can tie with a 3-point shot, send it to OT.
Clark cooler than the fan on that first one. 18.8 to play. UMass by 2. And he misses the second. It's a 2-point game with 15 seconds to play. Here we go.
Skip Prosser wants a timeout. I don't think his players see him. Yeah, they finally do.
Well, you mentioned who their money man was before. The guy that hit the game winner against Cincinnati. The man in the backcourt.
So it's a 20-second timeout. Skip checking on where they get to inbound the basketball. And a huge miss by Charlton Clark at the other end. So it's a 2-point game. A 3 doesn't send it to overtime. It wins it for Xavier.
Lenny Brown, number 4 for Xavier, is their money man. He had 29 points in a triple overtime win against Akron earlier this year. He's made some big shots. He hit the game winner against Cincinnati, as you mentioned earlier.
Okay, but Travieso guarded him a moment ago on the last possession, denied him the basketball, and Padilla guarded Gary Lumpkin. We'll see what happens. Yep, Carmelo is again on Brown, and there's Padilla over on Lumpkin. They may need to go to Lumpkin to get one off.
Lenny Brown looked at us at our scorers table, winked at us. He has that I know something you don't know look. Let's see what he knows. Braggs with the pull-up from the foul line. Tip in's good. We're tied. Posey snuck in there for the tip with 6.4 to play.
Not over yet.
Padilla, a wide open look. And we're going to go to overtime. Knotted at 72. It wasn't Lenny Brown. It was Posey, the 6th man off the bench, wiggling his way inside, working open to get the tip, Terry.
And the wink meant, we're not going to me. We're going inside. Well, he just slid downside. That's just hard work to get to that follow-up. The tip in, and we are going to OT.
It's an A-10 battle between two of the better ones. We'll be back with overtime on ABC Raycom College Basketball after this word from our ABC station. 72 on the James Posey tip-in with 6.4 seconds to go. And overtime is showtime for Tyrone Weeks and UMass, Terry.
They've won 11 straight overtime games as UMass, which is incredible when you think about it. It's got to be due to the guards, Padilla and Travieso. The one difference is that inside they've lost a few guys to fouls. They're on the bench.
Tied at 72, a look at Bruiser Flint, UMass coach, as we begin the overtime period. Xavier tied it up with a tip-in with 6.4 seconds to go in regulation, sending it into the extra period, and that was the man, number 41 for Xavier, James Posey, right there, that tied it up. Xavier has shot a sizzling percentage from the field today under the guidance and tutelage of their head coach Skip Prosser in his 3rd year as head coach. UMass led for most of the way, and this has been a game of attrition too, Terry. 2 big men for UMass have fouled out. One of them, the starting forward, Larry Kettner.
There you have a look. Kettner. Enos Norval has fouled out. Tyrone Weeks. So even though UMass has won 11 in a row in overtime, I think they're at a disadvantage going to OT right now without their big men, and that's where Xavier has done a lot of damage in the second half, going inside. And even the game tire at the end to send it to overtime, they went inside. They didn't go to their guards, and we talked about it at the beginning of the game. It's been a matchup of guards, 2 of the best backcourts in the A-10.
And what you saw just a few moments ago as UMass tried to get the ball over midcourt has been a big story, a central part of this game. The pressure by the Musketeers, full court and 3/4 court. Whether it's a zone trap or a man pressure, it has paid dividends for the Musketeers. 8 on the shot clock. Padilla for 3, and it'll be Xavier ball. This has also been a game that has seen Padilla's backcourt partner, Travieso, notch his 1,000th career point here at UMass. Yeah, in the second half, he has been white hot, sizzling hot from 3-point territory at 1.6 of 8.
Hit some big shots. Padilla, on the other hand, has played a good floor game, but he really hasn't been a presence from the outside. Hasn't been a threat.
And Padilla comes up with the steal. The career steal leader for UMass in school history, coming up with another pinch.
That's part of his floor game. Even when he doesn't score, when he doesn't shoot the 3 well, he does so many things on the court which makes him dangerous.
The foul is on Braggs, his 4th. He's been strong offensively for Xavier. You know, when you look at Padilla, he's a guy, Terry, that sends you reaching for your wallet. You just want to check to make sure it's there.
Often the ball isn't, at least.
He would be murder on that 9 train in rush hour in New York City. Bruiser Flynn. Hey, Bruiser, nobody said it would be easy being a head coach at a top-notch program like UMass.
Well, even despite the slow start this year, they've come back, they've won 5 in a row. I was talking to him yesterday. He said the biggest surprise and the thing that's tough to handle is away from the court. all the responsibility that you have as a head coach that you didn't as an assistant. What a big shot by Posey.
Posey is saying, come on and ride the P train. James Posey is lighting it up in the second half. Travieso struggling to get it inbound.
We've seen that full court pressure by Xavier the entire game, and I'm sure the guards for UMass are sick of it.
And tired as a result of it.
Now they
out top.
handled it well in the second half. They really haven't turned the basketball over, but he's got to wear you down.
Cross court to Clark. 10 on the shot clock. Inside to Weeks. Nice drop step. Tips it up. 3 for a quarter. Can't get it. And Posey again with the ball. James Posey seemingly ubiquitous today.
And that's
he is
5.
everywhere.
I believe that's 5 on Padilla. Padilla with the reach. He didn't really think that he was anywhere near him. He reached in at the end, but that's his 5th foul, and that's huge when you lose him.
That's smart if you're UMass. Edgar Padilla, the leader and the beacon in the backcourt, will sit out the rest of this game.
It was a free-for-all under the basket, and Weeks missed 2 in a row. See if we can see the reach at the end. The dive by Weeks, and there he is right from behind. Left part of your screen. Yeah, that's the little reach behind. I'm not sure that they made that call earlier in the game. He didn't get a whole lot of the arm, but a little bit of a slap.
Padilla from Toalta, Puerto Rico, fouling out, and now they have lost 3 players, 3 key players to fouls. Posey at the line for 2. Xavier leading by 3. 3:11 to go in overtime. Posey had 14 points and 11 rebounds against Cincinnati in their upset win earlier this year. Arguably one of the nation's best 6 men. Had the game-winning shot against George Washington recently as well. And Posey puts Xavier up by 5. Not an insurmountable lead, though, for UMass.
No, but now Travieso has to handle the basketball. And he can't just spot up and move without it. Use the screens to free him up for a jump shot.
That's a good point. And maybe, Terry, we see Clark bringing the ball up and ball handling a little break. We'll be back. Xavier leads by 5.
Thanks.
Back in Amherst, Massachusetts, Xavier leading by 5. Their largest lead of the game. Terry coming up next. Hey, one of your favorites, the European Figure Skating Championship.
Alexei Urmanov in the men's competition over in Paris. That comes up next.
Also action from the Winter X Games. And some classic wide world action. Evel Knievel. He looked more like Awful Knaufel when he went over those double-deck buses in Wembley Stadium.
Some great memories, aren't they? I think that's a great segment of Wide World.
Here's Travieso for 3. Missing, and he picked a bad time to go cold. They trail by 5 with 2:47 to play in overtime.
But you tend to force it when you get that opening. Not much of an opening now for him because he has to handle the basketball.
Came out of the timeout and got a good look at it. And a foul called against Bassett. The freshman from Jersey City, New Jersey, St. Anthony's, with his 2nd personal foul, much to the chagrin of Bruiser.
Well, he's saying I didn't foul him, and Bruiser's saying he went right over his back. You'd have to have the longest arms in history not to foul him the way you're trying to get to the basketball.
Teray Bragg stepping up to the line. And he has done a solid job in the paint today for Xavier. Should they hold on, this would be a huge win for Skip Prosser and gang.
They'd move to 6-2, of course. They're in the west of the Atlantic 10, and UMass in the east. But now the big men, I think, for Xavier have done a terrific job in the second half. Padilla now on the bench with 5 fouls. But that's where they've done their work, not in the backcourt.
Braggs makes the 2nd of 2. They lead by 6. Not letting up on the pressure. You like to see a team stay aggressive defensively with the lead and not become tentative. Travieso handling the ball, getting it over midcourt.
And now who scores for you? If you're UMass, who do you go to? What they're going to do is they're going to give the ball to Clark, let him penetrate, and try to get it to Travieso.
Here he is. Comes off the screen. Good ball fake. Gets open the double pump. Rebound Braggs. Doing it at both ends. Posey. Thought he was going to take it to the rack.
No need to.
And kicked it out.
No need to. Bring it back out.
Showing great cerebral capacity that time. James Posey. Lumpkin gets back the loose ball. 15 on the shot clock. And now you see Xavier burning a little clock.
Yeah. Use your guards. Make sure that they handle the rock. Oh, picked his pocket.
Weeks. Did he call timeout? Did he get it? Yes, he did. Tyrone Weeks calls a timeout for UMass. Weeks and company with a lot of work to do when we return.
Robin Roberts in New York coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports. We head to Big Bear Lake, California for the inaugural Winter X Games. We'll also travel to Paris for the Men's European Figure Skating Championships. Back now to college hoops.
The Brain Trust at work in earnest on the sidelines for Xavier. They lead by 6 with 1:41 to play in overtime. I'm Mark Jones along with Terry Gannon in an A-10 clash that has seen plenty of ebb and flow. And Xavier taking the lead late in the game.
And we've got a visitor on the floor, as a matter of fact.
A bird flying around the court.
That's what the buzz is about in the crowd.
This game has not been for the Birds. It's been an exciting one.
I've never seen a game delayed for the Birds.
UMass inbounding. Clark will be the primary ball handler.
Here comes the trap. Nice job of breaking it.
Smith with the 8-footer got it. The lead's down to 4 with 1.5 to play in overtime.
In a world of time.
Lumpkin handling the ball for Xavier. Posey, who's been pivotal in their success in the second half especially. Lumpkin out top to Brown.
What they'd love to do is work that clock down under 5 and then let this man create. Well, oh,
it's Brown. Brown broke some ankles. Lenny Brown with a big shot. He has 14.
I think UMass kind of sat back. They expected them to hold the ball through the entire shot clock.
Brown lulled them to sleep and then sang them a lullaby. And Clark gets it to fall. Xavier inbounding quickly and a foul by Travieso.
Yep.
The lead is 4 with 47.3 to play. Travieso's second personal foul. And don't forget, coming up next, ABC's Wide World of Sports, the European Figure Skating Championships from Paris, France. Action from the X Games, some snowboarding there, some great action, some talented athletes that you've never seen before. And then Wide World Classic featuring Evel Knievel. Right now, the game will be decided on the foul line. And number 12, Gary Lumpkin from Newcastle, Delaware, makes the lead 5 for Xavier. And look at some long faces for UMass.
They've all fouled out. Padilla, Kettner, Norval. And that happened to a couple of them right before overtime. Padilla early on in the overtime.
Tipped out of bounds. UMass ball. Lumpkin with 2 more foul shots. 46.4 to play.
Now it's a 6-point game, so 2 possession. Try to get it to Travieso. Hit a 3. Steal or foul after that. Here's a 3.
Travieso squares up. Got a look. And he's got it going on still. He has 26. And a timeout called. Charge to UMass. Don't sleep, don't blink. A 3-point game with 36.6 to play. Terry, Carmelo Travieso knows how to get open, and he does it well.
Well, 36.6 seconds is a long time when you're able to go to this guy and just let him do this. You can't lose him if you're defending him. I don't care if there's a screen. I don't care where he runs. You have to deny him the basketball because, especially on a day like today, he is just on fire. So UMass very much in the thick of things right now. It's only a 3-point game. There's over 36 seconds left, similar to the situation that Xavier was in before overtime.
He scored his 1,000th point earlier today. And and leading the way offensively today for UMass. Xavier inbounds safely. Posey may have gotten away with the hook on Weeks.
You got to pick it up.
And Posey is fouled. But if you see what happened when Posey got the ball, he used his left hand to get around Tyrone Weeks and tiptoe his way down the sidelines.
That's a dangerous play. Bruiser was right in front of Bruiser Flint.
Look and see if he hooked Weeks, Terry.
There he is. With the, there's no question he uses the arm. Now, that's tough for the official to see, though. I mean, Bruiser's looking for it, and he's going to call whatever goes his way there. He's going to let the official know, but that's, you know, I can't fault the official for not seeing that.
He tapped him on his wallet that time.
I was surprised Posey even put it on the floor. I thought he was going to wait for a guard.
Posey has been unflappable. He has been solid in the second half for Xavier. Makes the foul shot. Xavier leading by 4. Posey 9 of 10, and Lumpkin says, look what I found.
Now you got to foul right away. Even though it's Lumpkin, you got to foul.
It's a 4-point lead. That's 2 possessions for UMass. They need 2 possessions. And 2 foul shots here by Lumpkin might ice it. And I say might, cautiously.
Yeah, it would still be a 2-possession game, and you're talking about 2 Travieso threes.
Lumpkin has dedicated this season to his father, who passed away when he was 5 years old. He writes the name of his father on his sneakers. Lumpkin missing the first of 2. And don't forget, folks, coming up next, Wide World. Somewhere inside his sneakers is the name of his father. And he misses 2. The store is still ajar for UMass.
He's an 83% free throw shooter, too. Here's Travieso wide open.
Travieso got it!
What a shot. What a game.
Travieso cuts it to 1 with 12 seconds to go. Oh, my goodness. Carmelo Travieso can get it done. I mean, he has 29 now. He squared up and fired.
Again, how do you leave him open? Look how wide open he is. This is the guy who's killed you in the second half from 3-point range, and who you know, if you leave him open, it's going to bury it. What a big, big shot.
And at the line is Brown this time. Lumpkin couldn't get it done. Let's see if Brown can. And Brown hits nothing but strings.
And again, even if he makes both of those, Travieso hits a 3 here, and he would tie the game, send it to double overtime. Now, UMass doesn't have a timeout, so they have to take it and go right up the court.
They need a 3-pointer. 9.9 to play.
So
and Xavier calls the timeout.
Whew.
Wow. The Musketeers catch their breath, as do UMass, and we will too. Should Xavier hang on with 9.9 to go, it improved to 6-2 in conference play. But the story of the day offensively, Travieso.
What a great show he's put on today. Look at how deep he is. He's a good 28, maybe 30 feet from the hoop. Ready to shoot as soon as he catches it. And, you know, we're talking about a pressure shot. They're all going in right now.
Travieso today coming stronger than the IRS at tax time when you owe money.
With a new computer.
3-point lead for Xavier, 9.9 seconds to go.
Brown on Travieso. Now they switch.
Clark with the ball. Guarded by Brown. 4 seconds to go. Travieso has it blocked. Out of bounds. And it's still Xavier ball.
You know, Xavier was trying to foul early on because it's a 3-point game. You send him to the line, they only get 2 free throws, but you can't foul when he has the basketball. He's going to shoot.
Xavier going man on the out-of-bounds play. They need a 3-pointer.
Brown on Travieso.
Travieso ducks out high, and they try to bounce it off a Xavier player, and they throw it away. A gift-wrapped victory. And Xavier storms into Amherst and rides out of town, stunning this tiny New England city in the process. Xavier wins 87-84, improving to 15-3 overall. Boats coming up next. Wide World featuring the European Figure Skating Championship.